I want to thank CEE for giving me this opportunity, and what a great and beautiful panel to be part of. And more than that, the diversity in a sense, too, youth are included in the panel. We as youth are very grateful for that. Thank you so much. During these 3 days, what I think we should be taking out of this conference are basically, three things, according to me. And the first thing is, and I remember telling people in the UNESCO World Youth Forum in Paris in October, and I told my fellow youth that one thing is very, very important, and that is education. If we get this right, we are going to get the other 16 SDGs right. If we don't get education right, then we're just going to be deliberating again and again for the next 15 years. And that is the same thing that I really want to repeat right now and right here. Education is the make or break of the other 16 SDGs. And if we agree, as all educators, policymakers, and youth, if we agree that education is so important, then the next question is, what kind of education? You see, that's a very, very important question, because if you go out today, you're going to find a lot of people are very educated. We actually don't need very educated people, because they're already out there. But can we just look into the humanistic, the holy, and the classical definition of education? So go to a village, you see, and tell a villager to define education. What is he going to tell you? It's not going to tell you science and technology. It's not going to tell you physics. It's not going to tell you mathematics. But what is he going to tell you is values. You see, traditional and ancient values. This we have forgotten in the last 15 years. Totally forgotten. So today you have people who are highly schooled, if I may use Mark Twain words, people are highly schooled, but people are not educated. You see, so that calls for very, very, very important, rethink, or rethinking of education as such. Because until and unless we do that, you see, we're going to keep constructing schools. We're going to keep pushing people to go to those schools, and we're going to keep getting the same results that we have been getting in the past 15 years. So. And I think the new UNESCO document, Rethinking Education, is very, very important. I like it because the approach is more on the humanistic aspect, and that's what we are supposed to do. And I remember telling my teacher, it was like, why are you people using mobile phones in the classroom when I'm teaching? And after the class, I went to him and I told him, what if? What if that mobile phone, what if that Google becomes a challenge for you? What if you can do better than the Google and the mobile phone? What if you can teach students something that they cannot Google? Do you think they're going to use their mobile phones? They are not. And the third one, and the most important, and as a youth, is the role of youth in all the realization of SDGs. One thing is for sure, and that is, this is our time. Whether the old guys like it or not, this is the time for the youth. So it's either you guys, you're going to give the youth a platform to help in implementation, in monitoring of the SDGs, or the youth are just going to push you away and do it on their own. So it's a choice. But there's no compromise on that, because it's been more of saying the youth are going to take, the youth are going to inherit this planet. But my question is, what kind of planet do you people want to live to us? What kind of planet? So a planet that is almost burning out? You see, a planet where there's too much intolerance, is that the planet you want to live to the youth? And my advice to you youth seated in this audience is very, very simple. If they cannot provide you a way, make your own way. It's that very simple. And that calls for two things. So the SDGs, youth, we are going to play our own part in the implementation process, in the actions-oriented process. We're going to come up with our own actions. We're going to implement them. And this is very important, we are going to monitor the government and the private sector to ensure that they are implementing what they agreed to implement. And for these 3 days, at UNESCO MGIP, we've been working on, a crowd-based way of monitoring the SDGs, and mostly, the 4.7. And so to sum it up, You see, to sum it up, if there's something that we need to take away of these 3 days deliberations, is we've got to rethink education properly. You know, and we should stop talking about it and just start implementing it right in our schools, right in our universities, and right in our kindergartens. You see, because we've been talking about it for a very long time, for about 30 years. If you compare the changes today, they're very minimal. So we've got to redefine that again. We need that kind of education which teach people to be global citizens. We teach youth to be tolerant, you see, to accept and harness diversity. And there is a UNESCO MGIP publication which is global citizenship the new answer? And I think, yes, it is, because for a person like me, I was born in the south of Sudan and I grew up in Kenya and then I made it to India. You see, and I like to metaphorize that in this example. Today, if you ask me where are you from, Simon, I'm going to tell you I'm from South Sudan, Kenya, and India. So in short, I'm going to tell you I'm from this world. I'm not going to tell you I'm from South Sudan. But does that dilute the very point that I'm a South Sudanese? No. So here is my identity, living it, you know, portraying it, and also at the same time living the identities of very, very diverse people out there. And that's what we need all today. So as we get out of this place, we need to keep all those 3 things in mind. And my dear youth, my fellow youth, wherever you are, this is our planet in the next 15 years. The question is, how do you want to inherit it? Okay, if you think that way and then walk back, okay, if you want to inherit this planet the way it is today, okay, it's a beautiful planet but in a mess. We don't want to inherit it that way. So we've got to do 2 things. We've got to make sure the government and the private sector and all other stakeholders are passing on a planet to us that is as beautiful as we human beings came into it. And if they're not going to do that, we're going to push them away and do it on our own. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me this opportunity and gesture. Thank you.